Welcome to JazzyRell TV. This is part 4 of our Airbnb diary. So if you have not watched part 1, 2, or 3, make sure you click the links in our description box. So today we decided to talk about the lessons we have learned within our 6 weeks of being live on Airbnb. So let's get started.
You don't want to over furnish your unit. The more stuff you put in it, the more stuff you have to maintain, the more opportunities for guests to unfortunately destroy something. And having too much furniture or electronics is really just gonna run up your power bill anyway. When you have less furniture, it's easier to move things around. The more cumbersome the space gets, it ends up limiting your ability to clean the unit thoroughly, and it prevents the guests from having enough open space to bring their own personal items into the unit and kind of make it feel like home for them while they stay. Because our unit is so close to the airport, we thought that we were going to be hosting a lot of travelers, people with short-term stays. That actually has not been the case in this first 6 weeks of us running our Airbnb. In all honesty, most people have been coming for what we would consider extended stays. 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month. And with less furnishing in the house, we've given them the opportunity to bring more of their personal items in and kind of make the space homey for them during their extended stays.
Another lesson that we learned so far is that our marketing strategy was wrong. We was trying to market vacation stays, pretty much like who coming for spring break or who's trying to come to Atlanta to see the peach drop for New Year's and things like that. But we learned that those are not the people who have come to visit.
So basically, there are guests who are either transitioning to the state and haven't found a place to stay yet, but they have a job already. So they're transitioning for work. We've had people who are transitioning due to disabilities even, military. There's so many different reasons why people can utilize a short-term rental that we just didn't consider when we first got into Airbnb, that now we're realizing is just as large of a market as the traveling weekenders and holidays and things like that.
Another lesson we learned so far is to be honest on your reviews. Your guests review their stay, and so you have to review as a host regarding your guests. You have to be honest, because think about it. As a host, when you are trying to pick which guests to stay in your unit, you want to know how they took care of the unit. Are they nasty? Are they loud? Did they break anything? Those are the things that are important to put in your review. Don't just be nice, because this is not a time and place to be nice. It's your unit, it's your investment that you are trying to protect.
And see, this one is specifically geared towards me. This is a mistake that I definitely made. I ended up trying to be nice on a review that I really should not have. And the way it all panned out was, again, this is our first 6 weeks with Airbnb. So I'm learning the process, and in my mind, there's a lot of pressure. Airbnb puts a lot of pressure on you to communicate well with the guests and get your reviews up and get to a super host. And so I'm thinking, okay, let me try to give a light and fluffy review of this guest in hopes that they're going to do the same for me, considering we are we're new hosts. But of course, the guest didn't know that. The guest didn't care about that. So when she did her review, she just went in. She said how she felt, and in all honesty, it was not a good review. Was it a justified review? No, but nevertheless, it was not good. All the while, I'm doing a very blanketed, watered down review for her, just to not bash her so much, hoping that I would get the same courtesy in return. That was not the case. Furthermore, the other mistake that I made was that I reviewed the guests before I thoroughly flipped the unit. That's another big no-no. Don't review any guest until you have completely and totally flipped that unit and quality checked all corners of it. we have a guest. I don't know who that is.
The doorbell
Let's
just
see.
rung. That probably my package for the couch covers for the unit next door.
Is she correct? I don't know. What is it?
It's our couch covers for next door.
We'll get to that in a second. There's a reason we purchased these. Okay, so I was saying don't do a review before you flip. Flipping is basically when you go through the unit, you clean it up, you get it ready for the next guest. So every single drawer needs to be opened up, every cabinet door, every nook and cranny, so that there's nothing left that is gonna be unpleasant for your guests to find. I was reviewing guests a little bit before I went through that entire process. And so with that being said, I didn't find things that were an issue that should have been included in my review. It was never a thorough review, at least that first one. Of course, we learned that lesson really quick and then we corrected ourselves, and now we never review a guest before we flip a unit. It's part of what quality checks the community, so that when you rent to more and more guests, you don't have to take the same risks over and over.
Now, Rel said that we got a bad review, which is bad because it wasn't 5 stars, but what she said was pretty much like, what? Is this your first time booking an Airbnb?
This is the Airbnb family, y'all friends. We're gonna break down essentially some of the details that were her complaints, but of course, being an Airbnb host, we're on the other side of the fence, so we have a different perspective.